Hey there. Um, I just wanted to share some idea that's been going in my mind lately because I'm back in Uruguay visiting family and friends, and I listen again to this song randomly that I used to love when I was a teenager, and basically the song say there's a part of the song that says she said luxury was so tacky and she won me over. And that's something that I was like trying to figure out what it meant when I used to like that song. And later on, somebody who I appreciate very much and I consider a very wise person shared with me the idea of it's not the richest is not the one who has the more, but actually the one who needs the less, right? And I could kind of like connect those ideas and keep expanding a little bit more and understanding the meaning, or at least the meaning to me, which is that the more we need, the more things we're gonna have to give to get right what we need. Either like you want certain things and you have to work to make the money, or just like maybe you receive the money, like it's family money or whatever, and you're getting certain stuff, but those stuff that you're getting, they're gonna need maintenance, right? Everything we make in the material world, everything we apparently create as humans need maintenance. You can leave nature alone and it's going to be fine, but you cannot leave a building by itself for a long time because it kind of like falls apart. And same with like all material things we have created that we somewhat took from nature and transform in a certain way, and they're like now death, right? Like a plant is alive, a tree is alive, and it's gonna kind of like keep the cycle going. But a book is a death tree, right? Like a house is like death materials that were once in nature, so it's not alive anymore, and it needs like our care and our attention in order to be in shape and keep functioning as we intended to, right? So yeah, that's been my path in the last decade, probably a little less than a decade, maybe 8 years of of trying to get more comfortable with needing less, which provide me like way more freedom to have just like time to do whatever I want with it, because I feel there was a time in my early 20s that I was very into just buying stuff, just like accumulating stuff, just many times buying things that I didn't know why I was buying, and I don't know, spending a lot of money in a pair of boots that I will just wear twice a year or things like that. And as I started like getting rid of things and making more space, I think space is something very important to have, because energy can flow easily when there's space for it to flow. And when we have like a closet that is just like filled with whatever, right? With clothing and a bunch of things that we sometimes have forgotten, and they're just there because we have them, and we don't take care of things. We forget we have them. We are accumulating so much karma because we're not letting others that could make a good use of that have them, right? And in my early 20s, I was very, I say, very into stuff and whatever. And I realized, and I was so unhappy because I was in a situation where like I wasn't living where I wanted to. I wasn't working with what I wanted to. I had this dream of like living in Brazil by the beach where it's like summer all year round. But life was bringing me back to Uruguay, to Montevideo all the time. And I think like out of like comfort, um, and because here I had like life was apparently very easy and I had everything and I didn't have to do much to have those things, let's say. I eventually moved to Brazil and detached from so much of like that comfort I was used to, and I started being like really happy with very, very little. And that brought to my life so much inner peace and wisdom, and just like really joy and enjoyment of my experience of just my present moments of like day to day. I ended up living in Brazil, in by the beach, my dream life. And my dream life was had so little things, like just no, I didn't need much. I just had like a pair of flip-flops and a pair of like sneakers, and I had like 4 or 5 dresses and uh, quite a few swimsuits, because that was like my main clothing over there. But very, very little. And I remember at some point like moving to a house that I was renting a house that came with all the furniture, and I was almost every month talking to the landlady and saying like, "Hey, could you take away this piece of furniture? Could you take away like this?" And at some point she said like, "I have no more like storage space for the things you want to get rid in the house." And eventually I left that house and I follow like another path in another country. But that period of time when I was there in Brazil, and I realized how little did I need to be happy, brought me so much happiness. And it was funny because when I was living in Uruguay before that, and I needed like all these many things to be comfortable and happy, I was I was having a lot of problems with weed, because I would smoke so much, and every night it was like all weekend long, just like being high and whatever. I was just like trying to escape a reality I didn't like. And at some point I shared that with my dad, and he was like, "How could you?" He had like no idea what was going on back then. But and when I speak about that a little bit, he was like, "How could you be unhappy and wanting to be high and like kind of like sort of like depressed also at points, like when you had everything?" And I was like, yes, I had everything material, but I had nothing on another realm that is way more important, that is just like spiritual, or just being able to being in the present moment with joy. And I think that's something that is attained only when you just make your life simpler, and when you have like more time for yourself. And and many times like nowadays, like life brought me living in the States, and there's so much like consumerism, and I have friends who are insane, like to me insane, like had the way they spend their money and their time. And I'm like, oh my god, like just it's all about things and buying things, and then they have to get rid of the things when they get bored, or like like want to like exchange them, or um anyway. What I mean by this is that I personally found through my path that simplicity is a key for happiness, and the less we need, the more we live, because the less worries you're gonna have, the less things you're gonna have to take care of, or whatever. And I the other day listening to that song, I was like, that's true. Like luxury, it's actually so tacky, because it's like, how much do you need? How much do you need to really be happy? How much do you need to really be comfortable? Right now it's been like almost 3 years. It's gonna be 3 years the next month that I've been like sleeping on the floor. I just put like a yoga mat, and then like a blanket over, and kind of like a couple blankets like over me if like it's a little cold or whatever. But that's another practice that brought like so much freedom to my life. It's like I don't have to be worried about like, oh, what mattress do I want to sleep on? This mattress is like getting old, or this or that. Oh, it's not comfortable enough. It's just like I can go whatever. And just like camping, for example, is just, to me, is the regular way I sleep in my house, right? So it's not It's not, I see like camping people when I go camping, and like so many things they bring for the in order for them to be comfortable, and all the time they have to spend just like setting the whole thing up, and then like when they leave, like putting everything back in the car or whatever. And it's like I'm just like with a few things, a very small tent, like the yoga mat, a sleeping bag in that case, and I sleep so well, and I have like a good rest every night. And I've been in situations where like I go visit a friend or whatever, and it's like, yeah, there's no extra mattress or like couch, comfortable couch apparently to sleep on. And it's like, I don't care, do you have a yoga mat? Or I sleep on the floor. And I sleep, even like I've slept on the floor without a yoga mat, and it's like not the end of the world. And I can sleep, and I can wake up like refreshed and renewed. And that's something that brought so much freedom and happiness. And and when some friends come with certain problems or advices, I'm always almost like advising the same, like you have to make your life simpler and go back to the basics, and realize that all these things that we can accumulate, everything has an expiration date. First of all, everything we create, nothing is really forever. What is forever is like nature, in my opinion, right? Because it can like, maybe a tree is not forever, even though trees can live forever potentially. There's no like really cause of death for a tree other than a disease or like a natural disaster. But I feel like nature is in that constant cycle of renewing itself, and growing and transforming, right? And what I love about nature is like you go to nature and everything is what it is, and everything should be at least perfect as it is. Sometimes we want to trim the trees and make it like more a way that we enjoy or whatever, but for conveniences. But it's like nature doesn't need to be clean or maintained actually, or anything like that. And but the houses we make do. um I always think like, man, the bigger the house, like the more work you're gonna have to put, the more corners you have to clean up and just take care of, and the possibility for problems arising, it's exponentially increasing as the size of the house increase, in my opinion. Like, or like cars, like the fancier the car, to me, it's like the more things that can go wrong are like a possibility. The simpler the car, yeah, you can have like a very old car and it can break down, and maybe it's not like super reliable, but it's simpler to fix. And the problems that you can find are like way less than in a car that have like all this fancy new electronic whatever things. My the car I drive right now, I chose it for some reasons, and like eco-friendly whatever reasons. But one thing that some people, I don't know, some people say the other day, like, oh, it's so cool, I like when the car like closes the door, the trunk by itself, that you press the button. And I'm like, that's something that I hated when I got this car, because it's like, to me, it's like one more thing that can break down and then I have to deal with. While if you are just like using your hand and your strength, is simpler and easier or whatnot. But anyway, that's something I wanted to share, and it's something that I still work a lot, because of course I still attached to things, material things, and I like nice things. I prefer like less but good quality, uh, rather than like just more. And yeah, I I prefer for sure less. And I prefer to have like my closet nowadays like very, very minimal, very much with the things I do use, and I need, and not so much as like, oh, I want to have like this style and this color and this many t-shirts or dresses with these different like styles or colors for occasions or whatever. It's more like practicality to me. To me nowadays, like, okay, is this comfortable? First of all, is this like eco-friendly? Or if I'm gonna buy something new, this, for example, my aunt gave it to me the other day, and she said it was funny because she said like, I'm so sorry, I know you only buy organic cotton or organic like fabrics or secondhand. I love secondhand, like thrift stores or whatever. I go first there when I need something. But she said, but I saw it and I thought about you and I think like it's comfy. And I was like, well, I appreciate it. It's very comfortable. I didn't necessarily need it, but I accept it like as a gift. Everything actually that I'm wearing right now, I didn't go for it. It just came to my life. This was from my grandmother. Um, and the other day, my aunt also gave it to me. And these two things were from a friend of mine who, unfortunately, she passed away a few months ago, but she was also very into organic fabrics. And these pieces of clothing, she bought it 18 years ago. And it works, it's perfect, and it's warm, and it feels good. And it's like, that's where I like going with my purchases, like do good quality over like quantity, right? I prefer to, sometimes my clothing is not gonna be combining, but it's, I don't need, we don't need things to be combining all the time, and being stylish all the time. I think it's very bad for the environment. I have two pairs of earrings. I have these ones that also were from my aunt that she gave them to me, and I have another pair that my cousin gave me. And every time, also every time I have something and I haven't been using it, I like to go through drawers and like closets and my stuff regularly. And if there's something I haven't been using for like 6 months, I'm like, I'm keeping this away, even though I liked it so much. But what's the point of like just keeping it? Let's allow another person to enjoy it and to really make honors to the nature that gave itself in the process of this product being created. So that's that. Luxury is so tacky. Like, how much do you have to show that you have money or that you are fantastic? You're already fantastic how you are, where you are at. And whatever you have right now is what you need, and you're good. So that's that. Remember, the richest is not the one that has more, but the one that needs